Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Henderson Equipment. Today we're working on a Yale forklift. This forklift has a side shift cylinder. This side shift cylinder is leaking real bad. We got to rebuild it. I'm having a hard time finding parts. What better way but to make a video on it? Let's get into it. So this is your side shift cylinder, and this is a bi-directional cylinder. So what that means is this cylinder can shift to the right and to the left. So when you apply fluid to this port, it's going to put pressure here, pushing the load this way, and it relieves the load here. Vice versa, if a positive pressure goes here, this cylinder will shift this way, and it'll relieve out this end. I believe this is one single rod that has a piston, and that piston rides back and forth. However, though, you won't know until we open it up. So again, this cylinder came off a Yale forklift, and I'm not a pro at forklifts, but I've been getting a lot of work. Customers have been asking me to do a lot of work on forklifts, so I've been getting fairly proficient at them. One thing I find that's funny is the manufacturers having a hard time keeping track of the parts that they use in building their equipment. So this is off of a Yale forklift, and this Yale forklift really isn't that old. It's not new either, but it's really not that old. But for example, I gave the Yale manufacturer parts supplier, I said, hey, look, here's my model. Here's the serial number of the machine. I'm looking for a rebuild kit for this side shift cylinder. And they called me back and they said, look, we don't know what side shift cylinder is on that. You're going to have to take pictures and send it to us for us to figure it out. And I said, well, it doesn't say it in the build sheet. They said, no. This is either an integral side shift cylinder or a hang-on side shift cylinder. And I said, okay, well, I'll go take some pictures, send it to you, and then you can tell me. And I didn't do that because I thought that was ridiculous, and I said, you know what, screw that. If they don't know what parts they have in their equipment, I'm just going to figure it out myself and order my own parts. So I'm going to open this up. This has a rod cap here with a spanner wrench. Same thing on this end. I'm going to open this up, see what seals it's in it, measure them, order them, and then just do it myself. So this is a little tricky, because the way the spanner is and where the cap is, I don't really have much room. I have a bunch of different spanner wrenches, and I'll have to look up, maybe I have to get something different, but I'm only able to get this guy in here. So hopefully this gland isn't in tight. Hopefully. Oh, I think this thing's moving. This thing's, thing be that? Oh wow, look at this thing spinning right out. It's like effortless. I don't know if I'm just lucky or if it's supposed to be like that. It's not spinning out anymore. I'm going to assume that's all she's got. Let's give this thing a little bit of a tap. We got it. Oh. Fucking leaking. Alright, so I opened it and then I drained it, and I want to open it again so you guys can see. So here's your cap or your gland. Here's your piston. There's the rod. So it is one complete unit. Pretty easy. I'm going to take this end off. Hopefully this spins off just like the first one did. And then we'll put this on the bench and measure all these parts out. So the other gland that was in the cylinder itself. This one came out super easy. I mean, honestly, it was like hand tight. I don't know if it's supposed to be hand tight. It looks like it does bottom out, like the cylinder does bottom out. But man, this came off so easily. I've never had a hydraulic cylinder that was so easily removable. And there's really like minimal threads on this. Now again, this is only like shifting a load left to the right, and it's really not doing that much work. But it's just interesting. That's all I gotta say. Anyway, I'm gonna take all these seals out. This looks pretty standard. Looks like we got an O-ring here. And then we got a backer. That's on the outside. On the inside, man, this seal is toast. Yeah, so on the inside, we're not really going to be able to get much here other than garbage. That just disintegrated. So we'll just have to measure the groove inside here to see what is the right hydraulic seal. Can't really even see this. These wipers are always like the toughest things to get out. Always. Always the toughest. So you do need your fine point picks for these hydraulic cylinders every now and then. Okay. So, I mean, that is stupid simple. You got an oil seal, a wiper. There's no bushing. This cap, I thought this cap was cast iron, but this is just a steel cap. And that steel cap just rides on that cylinder. I don't know. I guess they don't really care too much about wear on this one. Well, that's one. We know this is going to be the exact same. And here we have the piston. And the piston is locked onto the shaft somehow. But on the piston, I see we can see we got one wear ring. Got an O-ring, it looks like. Oh no, this is an oil seal. This is a big oil seal with a protruding O-ring. And there's your piston seal. Pretty standard. All right, so I'm going to measure up my gland here. I'm going to order a set of seals ×2 for this. And then I'm going to measure my piston seals and then order those seals. And then I'll list this online if you guys want to buy this. If you guys have this style side shift cylinder, I think they're pretty similar. This looks like a 1-inch shaft. So let me get my mics and check it. But yeah, I mean, this is, so far this is pretty easy. So my seals came in. These are my custom measured seals. If you guys have a Yale forklift with a small side shift unit like this, let me know, and I can send you my seal kit for this. Anyway, let's divvy up the seals and get this installed and put back together. Bum, ba, dum, ba. Okay, that's the rod, that's the spacer, the spacer, one, boom, boom. Getting good at this stuff. All right, so first let's put this. This is the oil seal for the piston itself. Slide that in. And these are nice because literally I don't have to, work it too much. Fits in pretty nice. And again, this isn't like doing like a crazy amount of hydraulic lifting. This is just shifting to the left and to the right. Put my spacer on for the side. And spacer in. And here's the other spacer. Let's go 180 degrees off. And that spacer's on. Boom. piston and the shaft is done. That was easy. Alright, next, let's put this backer in. Let's put the O-ring. And I need to get my hydraulic seal kit. I don't have it here, so let me go get that real quick. Well, let's do the same thing on this one. Let's put the backer on. Put the seal on. And then what we could actually put... Oh man, this stuff is fitting good. Whew. I measured this perfect. I mean, listen to this stuff. Just snaps in like beautifully. Nice. Oh. And like that, we got a wiper. Alright, let me get my tool so I can put the oil seals in. Alright, so the U-cup, that's what's actually the fluid is going to push on and flare out. So we want to make sure we're installing this in the right orientation. Nice. So I would say this fits pretty good. You know, I might be able to get like a wider one in here, but I don't think you really need that, but I might be able to get a wider one in here. Okay, let's try to assemble this thing right here. I mean, this was like so easy to put together. Honestly, it was a little crazy how easy it was. Alright, so this is going together pretty good. I feel like it came out a little easier though, but I mean, it's going in just fine. But I believe I think I should bottom this thing out based on how this is. At least based on how the other side is. Yep. So there is a bottom to this thing. I don't know how tight you're supposed to go. And I don't have the right tool, so I'm just going to hammer it a little bit. It's tighter than it was. All right. Just giving this a little bit of a lead. So I've never had to start a rod like this before. Jesus. Ooh. Sounds good. That sounds good. On the other one. Alright, that's pretty tight. Tighter than it was. Alright. Well, this thing's done. That was pretty easy. I'm going to throw this in the truck, and we're going to install this tomorrow morning. Sorry for the lighting. It's cold and early in the morning. I got to get this job before I go to work, so let's start this up, raise the carriage up, and then we'll install this cylinder. So that shift cylinder sits right in here in this little bracket, and literally it pushes against this carriage from this point to this point. And so you got to shift this way, then obviously it puts hydraulic fluid in here. I should say, I lied, puts hydraulic fluid here, pushing the shuttle this way, and then vice versa. You got to go this way, hydraulic fluid fills here, pushes the ram this way. It's pretty simple. Let's install it. So you gotta like rotate this thing in, and it's a real pain in the butt. You gotta rotate it in with the fittings down. I think I like bent this bracket just so I could like make this whole thing work. And at some point we're gonna have to rock it back. Some point's coming up soon. Windy. I feel like every time I try to make a video, it's windy as hell. Every time. Just getting a little creative here with how I'm going to rotate the cylinder in. Creativity seems to be working. There we go. One side's in and rotated. Pretty good, actually. And let's get this side. Yeah, it went together easier than it came out. Easier than it came out. Alright, let's do one fitting. Do this soft. That fitting was right there. And we got another fitting. I think these were 1/2 inch. Heister's like an American brand. I'm sorry, this is Yale. I'm working on so many forklifts lately, I forgot which one I'm working on. Alright, let's go get a wrench. It's probably 9/16 and 5/8. This tube is bent pretty good, so they drove this into something. Took a hit. Took a hit. I don't have my shorties with me, but I wish I did, because then I could get this real quick. But I do not. Why is this thing being so difficult? Because everything wants to be difficult at 6 in the morning. Starting to rain a little harder. Okay. Man. These things are hammered. And I mean hammered. Man. Well, it's in there. Leaking no more. Oh, we got another leak? What the f? Man, you can't make this shit up. Well, this video was about doing a side shift cylinder. And we did it, and it needed it, but damn. Primary lift one started to leak now. Alright. Well, now I gotta order this kit. And I gotta tell the customer that this thing's leaking now. It wasn't before, but now it is. Son of a bitch. Yeah, so sometimes that's how these jobs go, unfortunately. Like when I got here, I did a bunch of testing on it, and, you know, the side shift cylinder was leaking like a mother. I mean, it was pissing out bad. But that was the only cylinder that was leaking. Like, I lifted the carriage all the way up, all the way down, didn't leak. So, but it was low in fluid as well, so when I got here I filled it up with fluid. I put a good used battery in it, and then I put, as you saw, the side shift cylinder in, and then when I went to lift the carriage up, side shift, lift it down, sure enough, you know, it blew the lift cylinder seal. Why did it blow now and not before? I have no idea. Sometimes that's how these things go. Sometimes the customer gets pissed because they're like, well, how is it leaking now? It wasn't leaking before. I say the exact same thing. I don't know how to say it, but sometimes that happens. So I'm going to go call the dealer, see if I can get a rebuild kit real quick, and then I'll pull that cylinder, reseal it, and then reinstall it and test it again. So 2 days have gone by since I last made the video, and I pulled that cylinder off, and I got a rebuild kit, and I rebuilt it in my shop. So I got it on the back of my truck. We're headed back to the job site. I'm going to reinstall that hydraulic cylinder, top off the fluid a little more, as I noticed I didn't have enough, and then we will test it out yet again. So hang tight, and we'll bring it to the job site. Alright, so I just got done installing the resealed hydraulic cylinder. That was a to-do, and to be brutally honest with you, I'm not going to show you guys how I installed this cylinder because, one, I don't want to deal with the hate mail I get. When I say hate mail, like, I get a lot of people that are very opinionated about safety and how I should be doing certain jobs, and I think it's really good to be safe, but you know, some of these people that are telling me what I need to be doing, to be brutally honest with you, I don't know if they've ever done this type of work, because they're telling me to do certain things. I'm like, you know, I just can't do that. It's just not feasible. And while we're talking about safety, you know, I think safety is very important, and I think it's good to have that safety mindset. But you do need to be realistic at the same time. And, you know, what's the guy on TV, Mike Rowe, John Rowe, whatever his name is? You know, I think he has that phrase, like, safety third. And I think he says that phrase, safety third, because, you know, I think people or organizations get, you know, too focused on safety, and then they try to make things very difficult for people, and thus creating, like, an unsafe environment. And the reason why it's unsafe is, you know, because people lose that safety mindset, because you become, like, numb to it because it's just another safety thing. Again, I'm not saying safety isn't important. Safety is clearly very important, You know, you want to keep workers safe. You want to work safe. But at the same time, you know, you do need to trust yourself and trust your mechanic. So, at least for me, what I'm saying here is I don't need no judgments. So that's why I'm not showing you how I installed the cylinder, because if I showed you, I'd get all you guys up in arms saying how crazy I am. And yes, I am crazy. Alright, let's test this bitch. Nothing. That's good. So it should be. So that's going to wrap up this video. This job went, you know, pretty straightforward, pretty successful. It is odd though how, you know, you come to a job to fix one thing, fix it, and then something else starts leaking or breaks. Fortunately, that's how it is. It's kind of like the nature of the business. But, you know, that's why we're hired. That's why we're here. So we're here to fix things and make things right. So just add in a Henderson sticker here for whoever opens this things up and takes a look at it. But besides that, that's going to wrap up this video, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.